Welcome to the Weather Insights briefing. I'm meteorologist Scott Pitney along with meteorologist Jeff Lindner, and this is our weather outlook briefing for the week of December 8th. This is Sunday, December 8th, and we are looking at some water vapor there in Texas. Texas just kind of divided right now, Jeff, between the have and have nots. The have meaning the folks that are getting rain south of that line, and then northwest of that line, pretty sunny.
Yeah, this is kind of the pattern we've been in since, well, I guess it was Friday, and it's been kind of a wet pattern here with the subtropical jet nicely in place. I mean, if you were to tell me this was a La Nina winter, I'd be a little surprised by the look at this. But anyways, even in La Nina winters, we do get patterns where we can get the subtropical jet here. It's pretty active, and it's been resulting in the soggy weather for the past few days. And we're transitioning into looking at how much it's really rained. We've had a lot of days of clouds and kind of light rain, but it hasn't really added up to a lot of actual rainfall on the ground. And so, especially down toward the coast, anywhere from a quarter to a half an inch. And then, interestingly, this is for the last 7 days. The northern part of the metro here had a nice little thunderstorm move across. What was it, on Tuesday or Wednesday when we had the rain?
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of extra rain up in here, but really the focus has been further to the north up here in the Livingston, over towards the Huntsville area, 2 to 3 inches of rain, and this has been, much needed rainfall. You don't notice it as much this time of year, because the temperatures are cooler, but we still have the drought conditions that we got ourselves into in the fall months there with the dryness, and we're trying to slowly claw our way back out of the drought here in Southeast Texas. Obviously, we're doing a little bit better here in Southeast Texas than out here in Central Texas. Again, this is from last Thursday, December the 5th. So that did take into account the rainfall we had middle part of last week. And then this weekend's rainfall we've had this weekend, we'll see that update come out next Thursday. The Drought Monitor comes out once a week on Thursdays. And so we'll probably see some additional improvement here, especially over in Southeast Texas and East Texas, where we've had a little bit more rain. Really, this weekend, we just haven't seen a lot of rain here back in the hill country in this area. So I doubt we'll see much improvement in those areas. And so, good news is the rain's kind of moving out. For those that don't like the rain, we're going to be warm on Monday. Highs up and potentially approaching records again in the near 80 to the low 80s across the area with a little bit of a west wind coming in. And then the big change comes in Tuesday with the big cold front, a good Canadian cold front coming down. And that brings us into the midweek period where we could see some freezing temperatures down in our area.
Yeah. And like you said, kind of a roller coaster with temperatures. We're supposed to have a warm front come through Southeast Texas. I don't think it's through yet, though. Temperature's still in the upper 50s late on Sunday afternoon, but temperature still forecasted to be, like you said, in the upper 70s, near 80 degrees for Monday. And then Tuesday, that cold front is going to be making its way through and be offshore by early Tuesday morning off the Texas coast by early Tuesday morning. But the high temperature Tuesday still forecasted to be in the 60s. So it's going to take a while for that cold air to get down here. But like you said, expected to be in the 30s for Wednesday morning as well as Thursday morning. So this is the model run for Wednesday, December 11th, around 6 a.m. And you see that freeze line getting very close, actually entering Southeast Texas, the Piney Woods, those areas expected to be in freezing. See some freezing temperatures up around the Woodlands, places like that. And then you just look northwest of there and everything is frozen. Right along the coast, though, still showing to be in the 30s. But this is the kind of forecast that you want to check back because these numbers can adjust and likely will adjust throughout the period. And we can see that on this is a product that the Weather Prediction Center puts out. And this is another way to kind of look at the freeze line, except in terms of probabilities. And everything in the purple shade is 90%. You might as well call it 100%. Some of those areas where they're expecting to see freezing temperatures. Again, this is for Wednesday morning, about 6 a.m. Then when you get down to Southeast Texas, Central Texas, you see those yellows and pinks. And if you look at the legend there on the left, you can see the pinks, 10 to 20% chance we'll see freezing temperatures. Yellows and orange anywhere from 30 to 40, maybe even up to 50%. And those probabilities getting pretty close to Houston. But again, those are around 50% or less that we'll see freezing temperatures on Wednesday. And then when we get to Thursday, you still see probabilities in the 20 to 30 to 40% range, even further in South Central Texas. But notice that 90%, those purples really backing off well to the north. But the bottom line is this is probably some of the coldest there that we've seen, certainly this winter time for the Southeast Texas area. And I don't know, I don't have the exact number, but probably we haven't seen temperatures this cold since February or March, I'm thinking earlier this year. Here's a closer look at Southeast Texas and pretty much the same type of graph showing the probability percentages of seeing freezing temperatures, but sort of a reverse as far as the colors go. Now the yellows and oranges indicating 80 to 100%. You can see that north of Houston, and they're very low chances of seeing freezing temperatures, less than 10% the further south you go along the coast. But you can kind of draw a line right there through northwestern Harris County, where the odds of seeing freezing temperatures are about 50% or above. And then if you're under that line, you're below 50%. So again, this is the kind of weather pattern where you want to check back, as these models will likely adjust throughout the period.
Yeah, and just to, be clear, this is a light freeze, so we're talking
Yep.
lows 29, 30, 31, 32. So obviously, if you have sensitive vegetation, tropical vegetation, that type of stuff, you need to protect that, even, at 32 or so. But for the most part, minus maybe up around the Crockett area, up in northern Houston County, this will be a light freeze, and so we're not overly concerned about pipes and stuff like that. But it'll be interesting to see how cold we get. A lot of times, these air masses, the models kind of underdo some of these cold air masses. But at the same time, this isn't a bitter cold air mass, and the other thing is there's not a lot of snow cover between Texas and Canada, so that air mass that comes down out of Canada is going to modify some, and kind of looking at some of the deterministic stuff. Even though we have decent probabilities of freezing in at least our northern areas, kind of up north of 105. We'll see how this air mass comes down. Some of the deterministic guidance is kind of creeping up a little bit on those overnight lows. What we really need to get into, we showed the NAM. The NAM tends to handle these cold air masses fairly well. But we really need to get into that shorter range guidance, the HER and some of that, and see how it comes out. So absolutely, if you have anything which is sensitive to cold air, potentially light freeze, I'd definitely be paying attention for Wednesday and possibly again Thursday morning. We'll see which one ends up being the coldest. Thursday may end up being a little bit warmer as the high begins to shift east, make a little bit of an east wind. So I can see Thursday being one of those days we might bottom out around midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning, and the temperature actually comes up a little bit towards sunrise if we get a little bit of an east wind in there. So we'll just see, but definitely pay attention as we get towards the middle part of this week if you have any sensitivities to the cold, freezing conditions.
Yeah, and that east wind is eventually going to be a southeast onshore flow, and will bring right now slight rain chances back into the forecast around next Friday or Saturday. So a fairly dry week as we proceed through the rest of this week of December 8th. Of course, you can get all the latest weather insights, weather briefings. We'll do this on a weekly basis now, right here by subscribing to the YouTube channel, Weather Insights YouTube channel. Make sure you turn on those notifications. Also, check out our blog on the Weather Insights website. And we also, just a program note, we're going to be having a guest on later this week. I don't want to give up who it is right now, but we will be talking about the hurricane season. We'll talk about hurricane surveys and all kinds of interesting stuff on that show. Again, that's going to be recording later this week and will be released a day or so after we record it. Jeff, thank you very much. Have a great week.